Why am I here? Who am I? What happens when we die? How do I find the purpose of life? And how do I find the goal of life, which is to be happy, peaceful, full of joy, love, and bliss? My journey into the art world began when I started asking myself the big why. In other words, how do I build a personal philosophy of my life while making a difference in the life of others? As an artist, I have studied and researched extensively on human consciousness, human and personal development, metaphysics, spiritual science, and many other multidisciplinary subjects, all in connection to man. Now, understanding these subjects, both intellectually and experientially, became my goal. I also realized that it is important for us to understand ourselves first, especially our mind and its modifications, so as to live in harmony with all else around us. And this can be in line with your goals, your visions, your missions, your dreams, and your desires. And, of course, following a purposeful life. So it is rightful to say that I'm a conceptual artist. Many of you may ask, what is conceptual art, or what does a conceptual artist do? Well, in conceptual art, the idea is the most important aspect of an artwork, meaning all the research, the decisions, the planning have to be made in advance, making the idea the machine that makes the art. In conceptual art, the idea is the machine that makes the art. It is joyful to say that being an artist is an integral part of my being. I am constantly in the creative process, inspiring others, moving people to take action, sometimes asking questions, and sometimes also provoking thought. In order to do this effectively, it is important and it is also essential that we examine our thought patterns and learn how to train our attention. When we look at our everyday life, we are flooded with information coming in from all sources, especially our mobile devices. Thoughts keep coming one after another. We rarely have one stream of thought. Unless we train our mind to be one-pointed by eliminating the space in between thoughts, no thoughts exist in this space. Hence, it is in this gap that we are able to experience present moment awareness. By cultivating present moment awareness, creativity, inner wisdom, and joy arises. It is through such practice of making the mind quiet that we are able to have great imagination, take inspired action, and listen to that quiet, intuitive voice within. So before working on a series of artworks, I usually engage my mind in a creative dialogue, give it a good polish, tame it, and have perfect control. This is done through daily practice of contemplation and making the mind quiet through meditation. Because I strongly believe that the mind is the strongest instrument that can provide us with great imagination. Thus, we are able to communicate a common language that brings us together as humans. The interesting thing about the kind of art that I do is that it has no limit to the topics that I can cover. For example, I recently made a film called The DNA of War. This film was shot both in Rwanda, covering genocide, and in northern Uganda, covering the war between Joseph Kony's Lord Resistance Army and the Ugandan Defense Forces. We also made this film in order to find out how people are able to deal with such traumatic events and how they're carrying on with their day-to-day lives. So this film was focusing on causes and effects of armed conflict, resilience, and innovation. In northern Uganda, we found out that, of course, so many people lost their lives, and those who survived mainly grew up in internally displaced persons camps. And these camps had been set up in order to contain the situation with the rebels. And also it was safer, especially for children, to sleep in these camps so as to avoid being abducted to go and serve as child soldiers. But since 2005, the war is over, and the camps have been closed, and people have been able to return to their homes. But over 20 years of conflict has left a deep scar in this society, especially among the youth, some of whom are born in the aftermath of this war, having grown up in an environment surrounded by destruction and violence of the past, and having grown up in such an insecure environment and with insecure livelihoods, many of them drop out of school, 35% of the girls entering into early marriages. Others suffer from drug and alcohol abuse, betting, and other vices. After finding out all this, I was filled with empathy for the people. And I wondered, what could be the solution, especially for the young people, because they are the future of the society? And how can I bring about positive change through what I know best, art? The solution came during one of the interviews from a young pastor. His name is Tony Agoyo Satan. In my language, Agoyo Satan means I beat up the devil. So Tony had seen how so many people around him perished, including his own father and older brother after the war, and he decided to live a purposeful life. He had organized a youth conference featuring youth leaders from about 7 districts in northern Uganda. And this conference was so transformative and impactful. And he thought how great it would be to have a similar event that was non-sectarian and non-political, to work on the mindset of these young people, because an empowered youth, both economically and socially, is the future. Considering my art also covers the aspect of human and personal development, and after having been inspired by Tony, I conceptualized the idea of having a self-development program for the youth in northern Uganda. So I reached out to everyone who could help make this dream a reality, and created a team that worked tirelessly to form Gulu Youth Conference GUYCO. Now our project GUYCO works towards empowering these youth by organizing transformational conferences and capacity building program. This is through partnering with a diverse range of stakeholders, including governments, non-governmental organizations, and local youth centers. Now, when you listen to this, it sounds like an NGO, but my solution is art. Art is the bridging gap. Art makes man be able to create abstract. And this is where the beauty of abstract thinking comes in. As an artist, I am able to create an ongoing project by implementing different artistic media, using all the activities that we do, such as paintings, drawings, filming, sculpting, and sharing this with the rest of the world. Because art, as a form, involves a lot of people. inspires them to take action in humanity and creativity. Thank you.